I think fear is a really underexplored emotion. It's human nature to avoid doing the things that we fear because it's a survival mechanism. It's how we've survived for generations and avoided dangers. But I want to talk about fear today because I've been reflecting on my life lately and how I got to the point that I'm at today, which is making videos for a living. And even though I'm still very much in the journey of figuring things out, I think what really helped me was just being able to sit with my fear and just doing it scared. I think it all goes back to when I decided to quit my job in architecture. After working in the industry for 2 years, there was this little voice in my head and my heart that kept telling me this wasn't the right path for me. And to entertain that thought was really, really scary because it meant giving up 3 years of just hard work, countless all-nighters, blood, sweat, and tears. And I was lucky to even get a job at that point because the economy wasn't great and I was in a great team and a great office. But I couldn't ignore that voice inside of my head. Because I think what COVID taught me was that life is so fleeting, and the biggest fear I have is living a life that is not meaningful and fulfilling. And so that alone was enough to convince me to quit my job and take a break. Because up to that point, I've just been going through schooling, and after high school, I went straight to uni. So I never had an exploration phase, let's say. So I thought to myself that it was my gap year, my delayed gap year, and it's probably it's not gonna last long, I'm just gonna mess around for a year or two and I'll go back. But what happened was that I was pretty much just lost. And I just started cold emailing and DMing anyone I could get my hands on. I just searched up everyone around my area and I started emailing film production companies, people like professionals that are architecture photographers or architecture filmmakers. And I just tried to get in touch with as many people as I could. But I remember even sending out those emails was really challenging because I was so scared. Like I kept reading over and over the email, just editing it so many times. And because I think I was so afraid of what they would think of me, and I'm also so afraid of being rejected as well by them, them ignoring me, and or maybe they will tell me to piss off. And I was so scared of just how they would perceive me, and if it seemed desperate, really. But I just sent it anyway because what was the worst that could happen, right? I sent it because I was like, look, I am basically unemployed and what's the worst that could happen at this point? So I just sent out a bunch of emails, and I'm glad I did that because it kind of changed the trajectory of my career. From all those emails, I got connected with a mentor, basically, and he produced high-end architecture films for firms, and he basically showed me beyond learning all those skill sets of working on a professional set, I realized that making videos for a living is a legit career. And specifically making the type of video that I wanted to make. And just that experience by itself was enough to encourage me to keep going and really work hard to make it happen. And so I think a lot of our lives is presented with opportunities really to expand and do different things. But in order to get there, you have to sit with your fear and face it. Because most of the time, fear is something that seems bigger than it is. I think, to me, I've even the reason why I'm doing this now is because I've always been so scared of posting anything online. And I think everyone relates to this. Posting online is scary because it requires you to practically expose yourself and be open to judgments from anywhere. And we all know the internet could be a very interesting place. So what I've realized after trying to post online for a couple of years now is that fear has a lot of layers. We all think that we are afraid of posting, but we're not actually afraid of the action of posting. We're afraid of the judgment and just how you will be perceived from posting this video or this text or whatever. We're afraid of how people see us. And that is the actual reason why we're afraid of posting. So what I've learned from that is that in order to face fear, you have to dive deep into what it is that you're actually afraid of. And from there, you can derive that either you have to work through something to get over that fear, or you will just realize that it's not that deep. Eventually, you will realize. And that is what helped me to be a bit more comfortable with posting or just doing anything else where I'm exposing myself in front of other people. Because at the end of the day, I think fear is something that seems bigger in our head than it is actually in real life, 99% of the time. I would say it always turns out to be that, yeah, what you're afraid of, if you actually go through with it and you just do the thing, you'll realize at the end of it that it wasn't that bad. It wasn't nearly as bad as what you imagine in your head. And so I think what I learned from this whole thing about exploring fear and just sitting through that emotion is that when you're afraid of something, you have to feel it. You have to feel the fear. You have to process it deeply and understand what it is that you are actually afraid of. And then just do it anyway. You have to just do it scared. And the chances are, whatever it is that you're afraid of, the outcome of actually doing that thing is gonna far outweigh the worst case scenario that you have imagined in your head. Because I think it's just, fear is just a thought, and we scare ourselves too much sometimes. So that's it. That's day 3 of me talking. And yeah, bye.